Okay, so here's something wild to think about. In 1952, when most Americans barely knew table tennis was a competitive sport, one guy decided he was going to make it his ticket to fame. And not just any fame, world champion level fame.
That's such a bold move, especially for a sport that wasn't exactly in the spotlight back then. Who was this guy? And what made him think he could pull it off?
His name was Marty Mauser, and he's the centerpiece of this new movie, Marty Supreme. He's a 23-year-old hustler from New York City, working in his uncle's shoe store on the Lower East Side. And while he's great at selling shoes, like he could sell you a pair even if you didn't have feet, he couldn't care less about the job. His real dream? To become the world's greatest table tennis player.
That's such an unexpected ambition, especially for someone in 1950s New York. I mean, table tennis wasn't exactly a career path back then. What made him think he could make it big?
Confidence. Marty's got this unshakable belief in himself, bordering on arrogance. He's convinced he can not only dominate the sport, but also make it a headline-worthy phenomenon. So, he decides to leave New York and head to London to compete in the British Open, thinking that's his big break.
London? That's a pretty gutsy move. So he just packs up and heads overseas? I'm guessing things don't go as planned.
Oh, not even close. Marty's not exactly known for his subtlety or charm. The moment he gets there, he starts making waves, complaining about his accommodations, clashing with officials, and just generally rubbing people the wrong way. And then there's this whole subplot with Kay Stone, a retired movie star played by Gwyneth Paltrow.
Wait, so now there's a love interest? Or is it more of a one-sided thing with Marty chasing after her?
It's complicated. Kay's married to this wealthy businessman, Milton Rockwell, played by Kevin O'Leary. Marty doesn't just flirt with Kay. He also makes it a point to introduce himself to Milton. It's like he's trying to force his way into their world, even though he clearly doesn't belong there.
That sounds messy, but also kind of fascinating. And then there's the actual table tennis competition, right? How does Marty fare on that front?
Well, this is where things really heat up. Marty's blindsided by this Japanese player, Kodo Endo, played by Kodo Kawaguchi. Endo's a powerhouse, and he ends up becoming a national hero. Marty, on the other hand, is left in the dust. But the thing about Marty is, he doesn't give up. He sets his sights on getting revenge, no matter what it takes.
So, it's not just a story about chasing a dream. It's also about dealing with failure and figuring out how to bounce back. I like that. But it sounds like Marty's life is kind of a mess overall.
Oh, it's an absolute train wreck. He's living hand-to-mouth, barely scraping by. And then there's his neighbor, Rachel, played by Odessa Azian. She's pregnant, married, and her personal life is falling apart. Marty gets caught up in her drama, too, because of course he does.
Wow. So he's juggling his table tennis ambitions, a complicated love triangle, and his neighbor's crises? That's a lot for one guy to handle.
It is, and that's what makes the movie so engaging. Marty's constantly chasing his own tail, trying to keep up with everything. He's his own worst enemy, but you can't help rooting for him.
I have to say, I'm intrigued. And Timothée Chalamet as Marty? That feels like perfect casting. He's got that mix of charm and intensity that sounds like it'd be spot on for this role.
Oh, he's phenomenal. He's fast-talking, ambitious, and completely unfiltered. You can see how Marty manages to scrape by despite all the chaos in his life. Chalamet really brings him to life.
And what about Gwyneth Paltrow as Kay? I feel like she'd nail the role of a woman who's intrigued by Marty but also knows better than to get involved.
She's fantastic. Kay's marriage has clearly seen better days, and while she knows Marty's trouble, there's something about his audacity that excites her. Paltrow captures that tension perfectly.
And Odessa Azian as Rachel? It sounds like her character's dealing with a lot, too.
Absolutely. Rachel's marriage is falling apart, and she's trying to hold it together while dealing with her pregnancy. Azian brings a lot of resilience to the role. She's captivating to watch.
So it sounds like the performances are a big part of what makes this movie work. But what about the story itself? Does it keep you hooked?
Oh, definitely. It's full of twists and turns. Just when you think you know where it's going, it takes a sharp left turn. It's like a roller coaster ride. You're never quite sure what's going to happen next.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And the fact that it's based loosely on a real-life table tennis player, Marty Reisman, adds an extra layer of intrigue.
It does. Reisman was the U.S. men's singles champion in 1958 and 1960. So there's a real-life foundation to the story. But the movie takes plenty of creative liberties, turning Marty Mauser into this larger-than-life anti-hero.
I love that. It's like they've taken the essence of Reisman's story and turned it into something bigger and more dramatic. And with Josh Sadfi directing, you know it's going to be a wild ride.
Oh, it is. Sadfi co-wrote the script with Ronald Bronstein, and they've created this world that feels chaotic and unpredictable, but also deeply human. You can't help but get caught up in Marty's journey, even when he's making terrible decisions.
So, what's the takeaway here? Is it a story about perseverance? About chasing your dreams no matter what?
I think it's a little of both, but it's also a cautionary tale. Marty's got these sky-high expectations for himself, but he's constantly getting in his own way. It's a reminder that ambition alone isn't enough. You need to be willing to adapt and learn from your mistakes.
That's a great point. And it sounds like the movie strikes a balance between being entertaining and thought-provoking. Plus, who would have thought a film about table tennis could be so dramatic?
Right? It's proof that with the right story and the right characters, you can make anything compelling. Marty Supreme is a film that sticks with you long after the credits roll.
Well, you've sold me on it. I can't wait to watch it and see how Marty's chaotic journey unfolds.
Rated MA, Marty Supreme scores an 8.5 out of 10. Make sure you see it.
You've been listening to Movies First.
Available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favourite podcast player. You can also stream on demand at Bytes.com.
This has been another quality podcast production from Bytes.com.